He was 11 years old when they kidnapped him off the streets. By 12, he was killing for a drug cartel. By 14, Edgar El Ponchis Jimenez had beheaded 4 people, dumped their bodies from a bridge, and become the face of Mexico's most horrifying trend, child assassins. "I participated in 4 executions," the 14-year-old said calmly to reporters, surrounded by armed soldiers. "But I did it drugged and under threat that if I didn't, they would kill me." Then came the part that shocked the world even more than his crimes. 3 years later, at age 17, he walked out of juvenile detention. No additional punishment, no trial as an adult, just a plane ticket back to the United States where he was born. Free. This is the story of El Ponchis, the American-born child who became Mexico's youngest cartel killer, and the justice system that couldn't figure out what to do with him. San Diego, California, 1996. Edgar Jimenez Lugo was born a U.S. citizen to Mexican parents. His childhood should have been normal: school, friends, cartoons. Instead, it was chaos. His parents fought constantly, violently. American authorities stepped in, removing the children from the home. Edgar's grandmother was given custody of him and his siblings. She moved them all to Mexico, to Morelos State, just outside Mexico City, a region increasingly controlled by drug cartels battling for territory and power. For a while, Edgar had stability. His grandmother gave him structure, boundaries, a home. Then she died. Edgar was around 10 years old, suddenly orphaned in a country torn apart by cartel violence. No parents, no guardian, no one watching. He ended up living on the streets of Jutepec and Cuernavaca, working-class cities where cartels recruited openly and children were cheap labor. That's when they found him. The South Pacific Cartel, a splinter group from the Beltran Leyva organization, needed foot soldiers. Not men, children. Because in Mexico's juvenile justice system, minors couldn't be tried as adults. Maximum sentence for anyone under 18, 3 years, no matter the crime. So cartels started recruiting 11, 12, 13-year-olds, orphans, street kids, boys with nothing to lose and no one to protect them. Edgar Jimenez was 11 when they took him. "I was kidnapped," he later told authorities. "They forced me to work for them." But whether it was kidnapping or recruitment, the result was the same. They gave him drugs, marijuana, cocaine, whatever kept him compliant and numb. They gave him a gun, and they gave him a choice that wasn't really a choice. Kill for us, or we kill you. Edgar chose survival. By age 12, he'd committed his first murder. The cartels didn't just want kills, they wanted terror. Edgar's job: help kidnap rivals, torture them for information, then behead them. The bodies were hung from bridges, messages meant to terrify anyone watching. He admitted to at least 4 beheadings. But the worst part? A YouTube video that surfaced in 2010. "We were paid $3,000 per killing," Edgar said on camera. "When we don't find the rivals, we kill innocent people. Maybe a construction worker or a taxi driver." A 13-year-old describing murder quota like it was a job. No emotion, no remorse. By then, killing wasn't shocking anymore. It was routine. And Edgar wasn't alone. The video showed multiple teenagers posing next to corpses, holding guns, bragging about kills. Mexican authorities warned that thousands of children were being recruited as cartel soldiers across the country. Edgar El Ponchis Jimenez had just become the youngest and most famous of them all. November 2010, Cuernavaca Airport. Edgar Jimenez, now 14 years old, walked through the terminal with his 19-year-old sister. They had paid tickets to fly to the United States. They were trying to escape. Mexican soldiers arrested them both at the gate. His sister was accused of helping him dispose of bodies. Edgar was charged with homicide, kidnapping, drug trafficking, and weapons possession. When soldiers presented him to the media, Edgar looked exactly like what he was: a child, skinny, curly hair, cargo pants, and a t-shirt, surrounded by 3 armed soldiers in ski masks and camouflage. "I participated in 4 executions," he told reporters calmly, "but I did it drugged and under threat. No tears, no fear. Just a monotone confession that chilled everyone watching." The Mexican public was horrified. International media descended. The case became a symbol of cartel brutality and child exploitation. But the legal system faced an impossible question. What do you do with a 14-year-old who's committed adult-level atrocities? Mexican law was clear. Juveniles cannot be tried as adults. Period. Maximum sentence for anyone under 18, regardless of crime: 3 years in a juvenile facility. Edgar was 14 when arrested. That meant even if convicted of multiple murders, he'd be released by age 17 at the latest. In 2011, Edgar Jimenez Lugo was found guilty of torturing and beheading at least 4 people and kidnapping 3 others. Sentence: 3 years in juvenile detention. The verdict sparked national outrage. Edgar's case was so shocking that Morelos State immediately changed its laws, increasing maximum juvenile sentences from 3 to 5 years for heinous crimes. But the change came too late for Edgar's case. His sentence stood. And here's what nobody wanted to say out loud. The authorities knew 3 years wasn't enough. Really, the 3 years of imprisonment are not enough to achieve a complete reintegration, admitted Ana Virginia Perez Güemes, president of the Adolescent Court. They were releasing a confessed killer back into society with no guarantee he was actually rehabilitated. November 26, 2013, 3 years after his arrest, Edgar Jiménez, now 17 years old, walked out of Mexico's juvenile detention center, released a few days early for good behavior. Mexican authorities put him on a commercial flight to San Antonio, Texas, back to the United States, back to the country where he was born but barely remembered. No fanfare, no media circus, just a teenager boarding a plane with a past that should haunt him forever. Edgar told a Mexican newspaper before his release, "I see myself as a man who will be good for society," but activists weren't convinced. They expressed serious concerns about his safety, because 12 other teens released from Mexico's juvenile system in the previous 2 years had been murdered. The cartels don't forget, and they don't forgive loose ends. The US Embassy refused to comment due to privacy laws. He reportedly went to a support center in San Antonio. Beyond that, his life became a mystery. No social media, no interviews, no confirmed sightings. Ponchis, the child assassin whose face had been plastered across international media, simply vanished into American society. Edgar Jimenez's story isn't just about one damaged kid who became a killer. It's about a system that creates child soldiers and a justice system that can't handle them. Why do cartels recruit children? They're easier to manipulate and control. They work for less money. They take insane risks. And if caught, they serve minimal time. Edgar was paid $3,000 per kill, a fortune for a street kid. Pocket change compared to adult Sicarios. His case changed laws in Morelos, but it didn't stop the recruitment. Cartels just adapted. And here's the question nobody has an answer to. Where is Edgar Jimenez now? He'd be 28 years old today, living somewhere in the United States under his real name or maybe a new identity. Did 3 years of rehabilitation actually work? Is he living a productive life like he promised? Or did the cartels find him? Or did he find them? We don't know. The US government won't say. Privacy laws protect him. But think about what that means. Somewhere in America, a man is living a normal life, and nobody around him knows what he did at 14. Maybe he's rehabilitated, working a job, raising a family, trying to forget. Or maybe the violence is still there, waiting. The scariest part? We'll probably never know until something goes wrong. Edgar Ponchis. Jimenez was 11 when they kidnapped him, 12 when he started killing, 14 when he was arrested for beheading 4 people, and 17 when Mexico released him with a hope and a prayer that 3 years was enough. The system failed him as a child, failed to protect him when his parents couldn't, failed to stop his recruitment when he was living on the streets. Then it failed him again as a criminal, couldn't give him enough time for real rehabilitation, and it failed the victims whose families never got real justice. So here's the question. If you were the judge, what would you have done? 3 years? Life in prison? Something in between? Drop your answer in the comments and hit subscribe, because the story of child soldiers and cartel wars didn't end with Ponchis. It's still happening right now across Mexico and Central America. The only difference? Most of them don't get caught. Thanks for watching.